Hello, this is the admin of those that stand on Christ Ministries Live. Um, I'm also the head of the digital church that's on my page, Willie Taylor on Facebook. And I was just moved just to get up here today and tell a little bit of my testimony and what Jesus brought me from and why and what I've been through. If you don't know, if many of y'all that don't know, I was deep into the occult. Christ saved me. I was a witch doctor. I was an occultist. I was a Satanist. And I was real heavy into black magic. Now, most people might don't believe in that stuff. And I was just like a lot of people out there. I didn't believe as well when I was younger. Because all I cared about, all I wanted to know was if he was real, why was my life so hard? Why was I going through the things that I was going through? How did I wind up in the position that I was in? I was put in foster care at an early age. My parents had got taken by drugs, and I was given up into a foster family where I came in and wasn't much love there. And I began to experience a lot of things there that I hadn't in my life before. I went through a lot of abuse, a lot of trauma, a lot of beatings. It was love, but it was more trauma for me than love. So I went through a lot of things there, and it was there that I truly got a taste of the supernatural, the occult. Um, Things for me spiraled out of control. I went from burning down my foster parents' house at a very young age. I say around 11 or 12 years old. I was put into the system then, and I didn't get out of the system until I was in my 20s. I say 25, 26. 2018, I got released from prison. I spent most of my younger life, went into 18, went down to North Carolina, got into more trouble with the gangs and murder cases that I got involved in the robbery. And it was just a whole lot of things. I became a very dark individual because I was blaming everybody and everything for the things that I was going through. I was mad with God. I didn't believe that there was a God. And if there was a God, I wanted to know where he was at. I was born into a life of misery, a life of poverty. So I wanted to know, God, if you real, who are you? Where are you? Where can I find you? I got some things I want to ask you. Why is my life so rough? Where is my parents? Why did I have to go through these things, not knowing that back then I was destroying myself? God didn't have anything to do with it. I was destroying myself, but God used the series of events of my mistakes and the things that I had done in life. And eventually he brought me to him. I wound up in prison younger, and my journey of Satanism didn't start until I got a little bit older. I had experience with the supernatural when I was young, but I remember going to prison when I was like 18 years old. I went down to North Carolina. I was in the blood gangs. I was I was out there robbing a lot of people, kicking in doors, taking people hostage, kidnapping people, and things like that. And I got caught up. The jump out boys, they jumped out on me, and everybody that was in the house, they drug us in. It was like 5, 6 men in that house. All us was from Virginia, and all us was really, we was just hiding out there. It was the place where the gangs met up. We would go hit licks and things like that. And a couple of us was on the run for different charges, some for murder, some for attempted murder, robbery, kidnapping. We all had different things we were on the run for, and we would just congregate there. And I remember the crib was abandoned. The boy house that we was in, he hadn't paid his bills. The lights was cut off. And I just remember cars would pull up every night, and they would just be like, okay, we about to go rob this prostitute. We about to go kick this dope man door in. We about to go hit this lick here and there. And it was just a dark time for me. I didn't really know anybody down there. I went down there with my ex-wife and I started committing robberies, and she left me. I was cheating, messing around, and she just left me down there. Went back to Virginia. I was already on parole in Virginia, and I violated. I couldn't get back, and things just spiraled out of control for me. I was a young, trying to please people, trying to let people know I was down and how hard I was, and I was suffering from a lot of pain. So I wound up going to prison at 18, and I wound up getting a 4 to 5 year sentences for the crimes that I committed. And it was when I had got sent around to a lot of prisons, because everywhere I went to, it was just, I think my mind had just snapped. I had enough. I was just like, it just can't get any worse than this. I didn't see any hope for myself. And it was during that time where I had got sent to this prison in North Carolina called Lanesboro. It was one of the worst prisons in North Carolina. Everybody was scared to go there. Like the first day that I got there, before I could even drop my bags, because they would give you this little white tote that you had all your stuff in, your blankets, your clothes, all your supplies, and you would drag that up into your room when you first got in the block. And I remember the blocks in there was like a maximum security prison, so the blocks were shaped like old school coffins, and it was three blocks on each unit. And I just couldn't believe that I wound up there, but they sent to like the worst of the worst people there. And I was just I was acting crazy. I just wouldn't stop fighting, wouldn't stop bucking, wouldn't stop wilding out. And I didn't have these tattoos on my face then. I just remember by the time I got there, I remember when I first walked in the block, they had stabbed the person to death right in front of my face. I'm talking about, they had these things called ice picks, which was like sharpened bed springs, because the beds had like springs on it, and they would straighten them out, sharpen them till they was like needle thin. And I just remember seeing this boy just get stabbed. Like you could hear the knife going through him and hitting the concrete wall. And my jaw dropped. I was like, how did I get here? I backed up into my room, shut the door. I was like, oh my God, how did I get to this freaking place? It was a demonic place. And it was like the spirit of the devil was in this place. People talk about going to evil places, but this place, it was evil. It was like, it were people in there for eating people, serial rapists, serial murders, just the most sickest people you could imagine, the people that you could look at and be like, yeah, they don't need to be let out. And a lot of them didn't need to be let out because they were still committing the same crimes in there. They was just doing it on the men that was in there, the vulnerable, the people they could prey on. They were killing officers. Like this, the type of camp, they had a helicopter pad with a helicopter on standby for somebody to get airlifted, because people was getting airlifted out of there every day. It was a gang. This prison was ruled by gangs. And that's when I came in. I started to get deep into the occult here. It was a demonic place. I got there in my life because I was to the point where I was searching for God. I was like, God, if you're real, I need to know who you are, because we're living in a self-sustained environment. Man can replicate some things, but some things can't be replicated by man, like the oceans, the mountains, the atmosphere, things that we know. We're living in a self-contained environment. These things were placed here, but where did it come from? How was it made? How was it created? And who created it? I think as human beings, all of us is searching for something. We're searching for a connection to something higher than ourselves. We're searching for understanding and purpose to who we are, where we came from, and what we're here to do. And I realized it was more than life, than just us living in misery on this earth, going through all the things that we've been through, and just for it to go blank when it's all said and done. Some people think we just gonna come back and relive it over again until we get it right. I wanted the answers. I didn't want to knock anybody's belief. I knew that until I seen it for myself. I was searching for God, not just in a sense of studying and praying and reading all of these books and things like that. It was more than a philosophical how can I say it? It was more than just that type of feeling. I wasn't just trying to be studied or learned. I was trying to make a connection in knowledge, and I was trying to make a supernatural connection. I was trying to see, is there something that exists out here that's higher than me? Is there a higher power? Is there a higher being than myself? I'd always had these questions when I was young. I was like, well, God, if you real, I'm going to find out if you real. And I went searching. And I went through all the major religions, the ancient mystery religions. I was Buddhist. I studied the Zavistas. I studied the ancient religion of Zoroastrianism, Judaism, Confucianism, any religion. I was Jehovah's Witness. I was Muslim. Uh, I studied it all. I went through every major religion that could possibly exist from present day down to the ancient. I always had a fascination for knowledge, especially ancient knowledge. And I studied hard in the ancient arts. So as I went through these religions, I learned, but there was no supernatural experience. It was just a whole bunch of reading, studying and praying, but it was no experience. I was looking for something higher than myself. I was looking to connect to some type of being, some type of entities that were higher than myself. And I finally had got that experience when I went down the line and I tried all these religions. And when I didn't feel that I made that type of connection, when I couldn't get that supernatural connection, I would drop it and I would go to the next religion and I would research and study that. And I would go to the next religion. And when I got to Satanism and I began to dabble in the occult is when I made that first connection. I had became a witch doctor and I was studying underneath a powerful witch doctor. His name was Gotti. He was from Brownsville, New York. I'll never forget it. And he began to teach me in the arts. I was already studied in the arts, but he began to take me deeper into the occult, and I began to do blood rituals. I began to sacrifice. I got so deep into this stuff. I was drinking blood. I was eating flesh. I was doing blood rituals and I'm talking about ancient rituals from these books that I was studying. Is like some of these books weren't even in English. They were unreadable. You wouldn't even be able to understand these books unless some type of demonic presence was giving you to understand. And I was studying ancient languages and I began to go deep into these rituals. My eyes was turning colors. I began to come in contact with spirits and things. And I was like, things that I just couldn't explain. I just couldn't explain. The prison I was at, it was like Lanesboro was like an open gateway. They wound up shutting down that prison because so many guards, so many people died. There was so many murders, so many killings. Everybody in there was practicing Satanism, warlocks, witches, you name it. They were practicing it. They had a religious library that had the Christian books in there, but it had all of these ancient books in there. Ancient books from sorcery, and I began to dabble with the ancient Sumerian rites is what I was started to do. The voodoo, the ancient Sumerian rites, the necromancy, the necronomicons. That's the type of stuff that I started to play with, and hence is how I got all of this on my face. Crazy things were going on in that prison. They would lock us down at night, and the showers you would hear the knob of the shower turn and the shower would be cutting on by itself. You would hear footsteps It's like it was common knowledge in here. Everybody knew that it was spirits in this place. We would be laying in our beds and a shadow would just go past your door. The thing was so solid you would think it was because the guards used to come in and do rounds. So when I had first seen this thing, I'm like, oh, that was just a guard walking by. But usually when the guards would come in, I would hear the door open. Like you would hear a sound that the door would be opening and you would hear the footsteps. Well, this is just hear footsteps coming up the stairs. Bing, 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 bing. And you would just see this black shadow go past the door. But you would go to the window and look, but there wouldn't be anybody in the block, no guards, no anything. Like so many people had died in this place. It was so many people practicing the dark arts in this place. Like so many of the inmates in there was practicing the dark arts. So many of them was possessed. That's why the murdering, the rape, the killing, the drug use, like it was like I was in the streets in there. People was doing every type of drug you can imagine. Any drug that you can get on the streets, it was being done in there. People were practicing sorcery to get out of life sentences, 20 and 30 years, and they were getting off. They were sacrificing people, killing people, doing rituals. This is the type of place that I was in. And in anything I practiced, I went hard. I went full blown. So I began to start practicing the arts. He was starting to teach me the blood rituals, taking the blood and drawing the different symbols onto the ground. And I remember one night I did that. I'm not going to go in detail of what I did, but I did my first ritual in my room on my floor. Mind you, in here, I didn't drink then. I wasn't doing any drugs. I was completely sober minded. And I began to do this ritual. And after I had recited the ritual, after I had drawn in the blood, nothing really happened. So I'm like, oh, is this stuff just this? So I went to lay down on my bed, and it was during the daytime. I went to took a nap because I was feeling a little bit tired. I didn't really come out the room like other people. And the sun was shining through my window. I had my back turned to the door because it was single cells. So it was like 50 or 60 single cells in each block because I was in maximum security. And I'm laying down with my back turned, falling asleep. And somebody always say that feeling where they feel like the demon riding their back. All I remember is the sun was shining because it was the middle of the afternoon, summertime. The sun was shining through the window in my face because we used to have these little slits of the window where we could see outside into the, you know what I'm saying, onto the outside world. So I'm laying there and all I remember is I began to see the light just started to recede as if the sun was going down, but it was like it was going down too fast. I'm like, I know the sun go down, but it was like a rapid receding of the light. The light just began to go from outside the window, just begin to go dark. My body froze. It felt like like somebody had just dropped 1,000-pound boulder on me. I froze. I could not speak. I couldn't talk. The room got so cold that it's like I could see the mist coming out my mouth, like it was the middle of winter. And my body had froze up, but I wasn't all the way to where I was incapacitated. And it was like I was turning over midway to see what was going on. And it's like I got halfway around to where my head was turned facing the door, but my body hadn't fully all the way turned over. And it's like I froze. And where I had drew the pentagram on the ground in my blood, and I had did that ritual, this figure, just it rose out of the middle of the floor. It was dark. It was over 7 feet tall. It was like blackness. The shape, it was shaped like it was like a humanoid shape in a cloak hoodie, but it was all darkness. And what the Bible calls, it says what's in hell, dense darkness. Dense darkness meaning And hell, no light, even if you was to shine light, it can't pierce this type of darkness. Like it can't penetrate it. This creature was dense darkness. No light could penetrate it. I couldn't see through it. I couldn't see the door. It rose up out of the ground and it is like it was levitating. It floated and it came towards me. It seized my body up and it starts speaking to me in a language that I had never heard. Like it was speaking the language. I heard the language. It was like the language, what they call the language of the dead. It was like I couldn't understand what it was saying out his mouth, but in my mind, I heard it. It was speaking, but it was speaking like in my head. And it took me over. It was giving me instructions and it took me over. And after it gave me the instructions, it was like I was convulsing. My eyes was rolling to the back of my head. I was shaking. Spittle was coming out of my mouth. And after it got done giving me the instructions, it sunk right back down. And I snapped back. And I'm telling you, when I snapped back, I said, what the heck just happened? I was scared to death. I didn't go to sleep until the next morning because I was scared that if I fell asleep, I didn't have an understanding of what had just happened because I knew I wasn't asleep. I was like, if I fall asleep, this thing is going to get me. This thing is going to approach me again. I'm like, whatever ritual I did, I said it worked. I said, this stuff is real. I said, this stuff is real. But I said, I haven't came in contact with this when I was a Muslim. I didn't come in contact with this when I was practicing Judaism, Kabbalism. I said, I get here to Satanism studying underneath this witch doctor. This man was the real deal. He had got a life sentence overturned through witchcraft. He was the real deal. And black magic is real whether we believe it or not. I was from the streets. I didn't believe that stuff. I didn't believe any. The only thing I believed is what I could see. The only thing I believed in is what I can get, what I could take, money, the people that was around me, what was tangible. When I went down that path and I saw those things, I said, this is real. And I said, the only other way of life that talks about these beings and these creatures is Christianity. And it hit me then. I said, if this is real, I said, if these things are real, God has to be real. And I lost control. I remember it was like witchcraft is a poison. Is when you play with these things, you are making a covenant with the beings and the fallen angels that have disobeyed God. Any type of way you play with it, you'll put yourself underneath a curse. I don't care whether you go into Walmart and buy a book. I don't care if it's a simple spell. I don't care if you play with the Ouija board. There's no such thing as white magic, gray magic, pink magic. It's all black magic. That's how they get people. And if you mess with that stuff in any way, it's like once you put your finger on it, it's like a poison seep through you. It's like people talk about pure evil, but I've seen and witnessed pure evil from man to creature. Those creatures, they're a spiritual form of them. They're a physical form of them, what the history books call the monsters. They paint these things now as a fairy tale, but these creatures and these things that you see on TV are real. And they were real during the time of Noah. They're going to come back. So when you touch this type of art, this type of knowledge, which came from the fallen angels, is demonic through and through. If you play with it in any type of way, you get hooked. You get hooked to the evil. You get hooked to the magic because the magic really works. It's going to cause things to happen. It works, but it's a price that comes with it. It's like I immediately got infected with the poison. And once you touch it, you're cursed. It's like no matter what you cause to happen, you will never be at peace. Nothing that you do is ever going to go right. You're never going to prosper. in anything that you do. You're going to always be in a state of bondage, a state of poverty. And most people that's practicing black magic today don't even know that they're doing it. With the meditation, these sororities, the sage, all of this stuff that people are doing is black magic. The yoga, all of it is black magic that comes from different regions of the world, that these creatures came down in ancient times and taught these civilizations this type of knowledge. And it's been spread throughout history and been made to be painted as something else. But it was many of these beings that taught men different things. And it's been painted now to be something that is not. So to make a long story short, because I can go all day, I got hooked. I didn't have these tattoos on my face then. I didn't have any tattoos on my body at all then, but like 1 or 2 tattoos I got when I was in the world. I become real demented after that first ritual. More rituals you do, the more you break your soul, the more you drain your soul and the light that's in you. You burn it down until you become soulless. You go further, you won't be human at all when it's done. So once you cross over into that Gibber-Rim stage, you can't be redeemed. And they know this. So I got addicted. So I started to study in the books of the dead from Egypt and the ancient Sumerian magic from the time of Christ, the Necronomicons and the necromancy, which was I began to summon these things up and converse with them. Then I began to practice astral projection, where I would do the ritual to leave myself and go into the spiritual dimensions and talk with these beings and go to the places where they had been locked up and trapped to gain knowledge and to bring it back. That's what I began to do, because I wasn't like the rest of them. I didn't want to do sorcery to gain riches or to take control of people or to get myself out. I wanted knowledge. I wanted to know how it happened. Who were they? I wanted as much know as I possibly can, because I knew that was the power. If I knew that, I wanted true power. Like I wanted the power to control elements, the power of the Antichrist, basically. And you have to practice that stuff for a long time to get to that type of level. And I remember I got consumed. But God was working for my good then. Jesus was working for my good then, but I didn't know it. I used to keep a Bible in my room, but it was like, at one point I used to glance at the Bible underneath my bed, look through it from time to time. But once I started to play with the sorcery, it's like I couldn't even touch it no more. I couldn't go near it. I couldn't put my hand on it. It's like my body started to go through some changes. And the first thing that I did was I got these ancient books from Samaria. And I began to study these books, and I went through the book, and I took service underneath a powerful demon. I had the altar in my room. I had the picture of the Baphomet, and I would begin to bow down and pray to this thing. And that's why they talk about the tattoos, because certain symbols are sigils. They are these creatures, the same way that we have a name. These creatures and these demons have names, but they come in the form of shapes and letters and pictures. That's why they say be careful what you tattoo to your flesh. Because when you tattoo these things to your flesh, you bind it. Like this. On the bottom of my lip, this is ancient Egyptian, Theban. Every tattoo that I put on me, from these to this, it was all ancient symbols, all connected to demons or demonic worlds. And I tattooed this on my chest. This was the first tattoo I got. I tattooed, that was the symbol of the demon that I took service underneath, a powerful demon called Narlatep. And when I was going to draw the symbol on a piece of paper for me to get the tattoo, I was in my room with the books of the dead, and I was searching through it, trying to see which one of these which one of these creatures I was going to let take my body. I was going to become a host vessel, basically. I didn't know what I was doing to myself then. And as I'm looking through the book, it's like, man, I'm telling you, this stuff that was happening to me is like somebody put sleeping gas on me. I fell asleep. I don't even remember falling asleep. I fall asleep in my cell. When I wake up, that symbol that's on my chest was drawn on the paper, saints, and I did not put it there. I did not draw it. Whatever that entity was, they did it. Like they was telling me, I've chosen you. You are going to serve me. And I went to the tattoo man in there and I said, bind this to my flesh. Tattoo this symbol on my chest. The night that he tattooed that symbol on my chest, I went to sleep. And it's like I wake up in the middle of the night. I got my back turned. And all I see behind me is this shadow. It's like this creature walks up. It was an insect looking thing. It was about 7 feet tall. It had about 6 or 7. You know how insect arms is segmented and long? It had like 6 or 7 segmented insectoid-like arms on each side. And I knew this because I could see the shadow of the thing in my back and reflecting off of the wall as if a person was standing behind me. And the arms was long, and where the fingers was supposed to be, it was like 5 or 6 writhing tentacles. And it took a hold of me. And then it went in. It's like it cut me in the back, and then it went into my body through the cut of my back. And the thing possessed me. And from that day forward, it was like I could feel it inside of me. It's like the creature was made of tendons, like my shirt would be moving, wriggling around like it was tentacles underneath it. When I was walking around, everybody in here was connected to the demonic, and some of the witches in there and the warlocks in there could see the creature in me and on me and the things hovering around me. It had took possession of me, and my eyes began to turn all black, and I began to lose control. I opened these gates into hell, which is a spiritual dimension inside the middle of the earth. And I began to do these rituals. I began to get a taste for blood. I was cutting my arm, licking my own blood. Then I began to get a taste for other people's blood. I began to get knowledge of magic and things out of nowhere. And then I had got this ritual while I was doing astral projection, where the ritual I would like go into a seizure. My eyes will roll, my body will shake, I'll be convulsing out my mouth, and then I'll pop outside of my body. And I will begin to travel to different realms in hell, the realms that's on this earth, the realms inside of this earth and outside of this earth. And I was coming in contact with powerful demons, powerful creatures, and they was telling me the stories of what had happened in the beginning, the war against God, who they were, how they had got trapped. And the thing took service underneath me. It's like he brought me to his world. And it came to me one night, that same way I was laying in the bed, and it came and it appeared behind me, and it was like, I need your body. I was scared of this thing. It was like, I need your body. This was the first, I was like, I'm not giving it. When it would speak, you would hear it in your head, but the mouth of the thing would never move. It was like, I need your body. I need to see something. Mind you, I was locked in the cell, so I couldn't get out. It would always appear at 2 or 3 in the morning. And I said, no, you can't have my body. But I had already made covenant with this creature. And it was like, I'm going to take it. And it felt like somebody was putting butcher knives all in my stomach, all in my back. This thing was making me feel so much excruciating pain, where I was like, take it. And it was like, I got up out the bed, but I wasn't moving myself. It's like I was pushed to the back of my body, and this thing was controlling my feet and my hands and my mouth and my eyes. And after it had seen whatever it had seen, it let me go and it left. And I broke down in that room and I cried. I was crying out to God. I said, God, what have I done? That's all I kept telling myself. What have I done? Because once you go that deep, you cannot come back. There's only two ways these things, these demons, these fallen are going to let you go: by death, or you have to make a true conversion to God and fall underneath the protection of the blood of Jesus for you to stay alive, because they're going to try to kill you if you convert, because you've seen too much, you know too much. And that's how it was with me. I said, I messed up. I done made covenant with this thing and it's taken over my body. They were dragging me into different realms against my will. Every time I laid down, I was scared to sleep. I couldn't get any peace. And he bought me. It was like they was dragging me into the spiritual realms, because the spiritual realms are layered on top of the earthly realm. It's like the pages of a book. That's how the realms are layered. So earth is in the middle, but then you got different dimensions on top and different dimensions on bottom. That's why the devil was talking about when God asked him, where have you been? He was like, I'm going to and fro, up and down. He's going up, down, side to side, from heaven to hell, and to and fro, which is from one end of the dimensions to the other, which never ends. They had access to these, the spiritual beings got access to these dimensions before Satan was barred out of heaven and he could no longer enter in. During that time, he could. Is a long story. I'm telling you, I knew I bonded myself to this thing, and they were pulling me into these dimensions at night and giving me information, telling me who they were, how they got there, and asking me to take service underneath them. So I was hungry for power. I was lost. I tasted the poison, even though I was scared, even though I knew I had damned myself. I kept going. And I say for 3 years, I was traveling these dimensions during astral projection. And the creature took me underneath his service and it says, I need you to get the beings that's like me from hell onto the earth. And the only way that they can do that is they have to possess or inhabit a body. And it could be one, two, or many of them. You can be possessed by legions, powerful demons. They need bodies to inhabit. They're physical creatures as well that are still roaming this earth in the woods and in the mountains and in the regions that a lot of people are not at, underneath ground. God, the Holy Spirit, is holding these things back unless they would have overran the earth like they did in the time of Noah. That's why a lot of people go missing in them woods and in them remote regions of the earth, because those beings, those Nephilim, the physical ones, are still alive, but there are a lot of spiritual ones that God trapped and pushed into other dimensions, are locked into hell. And I navigated hell. I went to hell. Hell is dark, it's dense. You can't even see in hell in the spirit. It's dark down there in the spirit. You can't even see where you're going. That's why he said they stumble in darkness, gnashing their teeth. You can't even see in hell in the spirit. And I've seen things and experienced things that most people would never see experience in their life. God showed me hell. He showed me the pit. I've seen where the souls of men are kept after they die. I experienced these things, and that's how I know Jesus is real. That's how I know God is real. That's why I don't play with my life, because people think that it's not going to be any consequence after this. They think that it's not going to be any repercussion. There's a world outside of this world. This world that we're living in is not the end, because the body dies, but the spirit lives forever. The only thing that dies is the body. The body or the flesh is the encasement that holds your eternal spirit. Your eternal spirit is like a source of ether. Light is God's energy, ectoplasm, wrapped in an ectoplasm, if somebody can understand it. The spirit never dies. You just cross over into another dimension, another plane of existence that's outside of the physical plane. The only thing that can exist in the physical plane is the flesh. That's why God say no man that's birthed of flesh and blood can enter into the into the spiritual world, into the heavens, because you can't enter into some of these dimensions in a physical body. That's why they call it astral projection. You have to travel in your spiritual body, and your spiritual body doesn't die. It crosses over from this world to the spiritual world, which is the real world. And over there, oh my goodness, it's things over there, bro, that I could barely explain. So these demons, they know this. They know that if they can get hosts, if they can get people, that's all it's about. It's about souls, the same way it's about money here in the spiritual realm. Souls is money. Bodies is money. You see what I'm saying? And the devil knows that. He proposed the question of God. That's how he got me. The devil brings you to him through sorrow, through pain, through heartache, through suffering. Because he proposed a question to God in the ancient times. He was like, if I put them through enough, that's what the story of Job was talking about. If I kill enough of their families, if I kill enough of their homeboys, if I make their life hard enough, not only can he make your life hard, but if he make your life easy enough, if he give you the riches, if he overload you with the money and the fame, you will be corrupted. You will never be able to find God. Satan made a whole bunch of counterfeit religions to where people will sit searching for God. It's like Satan made a whole bunch of cubic zirconium diamonds in God's way is the only real diamond in the stack. But how is you going to find one real diamond in a stack of cubic zirconium diamonds? It's going to be hard to find it unless something is guiding you to tell you exactly where that diamond is. It's the same with all these religions. He made all of these religions so that you will be running around because you only got a certain amount of time before your days is up. The same day that you were born, you already have a day set for your death. You don't know that that day is coming, but God knows, the spiritual knows. And we sit and we waste our time. And all the devil wants is to keep you in bondage and sin, not knowing God, not being able to find God, always being confused about who God is, or just not believing in God at all until the day of your death. If he can hold you into the day of your death, if he can hold that hate in you, if he can hold that resentment in you, if he can make your life so easy you ain't thinking about God, if he can make you go through enough struggle, you will never find God. He has to replace something in your heart with God so that you will have no need to seek God. He got to make sure that you're suffering enough so that you won't have no time. He put all of these distractions around us. That's what the distraction is. The money, the cars, the TVs, the jobs, the clothes. We are living in a fallen world. And what most people don't know is that the devil has created these things that we use every day. God didn't create these things. In the beginning, there was no TVs, wasn't cars, it wasn't money. Why do you think the devil's insignia is on the back of money? All of these things that we're searching after is the creation of the devil. And if we get hooked to the drugs, hooked to the sex, hooked to the cars, hooked to the money, hooked to the TV, you will never be able to find God. You will never be able to work on your spiritual man to come to the knowledge of who God and Jesus Christ is. The devil put value on these things where there were no value. If you break money down, it's nothing but a piece of paper. It's in its simplest form. If you break these diamonds and these gold down, it's nothing but rocks and stones. If you break the cars and the money and the houses down, it's nothing but wood and metal. So the devil has got you in this temporary life, in this temporary world, because you was put here to be tested, to see if you worthy enough to enter into the true realm, which is the spiritual realm, into the true kingdom of God, which is a world that's outside of the physical world. You've been put here for a purpose and to carry out your purpose. But if you never do that, then you fail. He knows that if he can get you hooked, that you're out here turning your back on God for something that in the end, all of it is going to be destroyed. The earth is going to be wiped clean. The earth itself will never be destroyed, but the surface of the earth, everything that dwells on the earth is going to be wiped clean. He can get you to turn on God for some rocks, paper, metal, and stone. That's all it really is. And he's gonna make you go through so much in life, you won't even think about God. He's going to have you so caught up in yourself, you're not going to think about the spiritual man, the spiritual princess, because our whole purpose is to ascend, to become God-like while we're still in the natural body, to become back attuned with God, to come back into the knowledge of who we really were before the flesh came. Because we were beings made of pure spirit before the flesh came. People don't know when Adam and Eve sinned. That's when flesh came upon us. And when flesh, this physical skin, we were spiritual beings before that. We didn't have skin. We didn't have lungs. We didn't have heart. When the skin came on us, we begin to age. We begin to hurt. We begin to die. When God wrapped us in flesh because of the sin of Adam and Eve, that's when our days begin to be counted. This right here is not of God. This thing that covers your body has an intention, it has a spirit of its own. That's why he said we battle with the flesh and principalities and spiritual beings in high places. It's a deeper understanding. The devil recruited me as being that I took service under, and it told me, it was like, I need you to snatch bodies for me. I need you to get these people to participate, to get these people to do something, to participate, to do some type of spell, to initiate with us so that we could take their bodies like we had took yours. And I walked around for years on the streets and in prison. From prison to prison, it's like the devil was moving me. And I was initiating people into this brotherhood. I was snatching their bodies because I knew the only people I was scared of was the true people that truly knew who God was. The true children, and there was some of them in there that wasn't fake. But I would feed into what I knew you wanted in your flesh, and I would tell you, well, you can get this if you do this spell. You will have money. I can make you be able to see your brother again. I had supernatural power. I was appearing in people's dreams. I was making people see their dead loved ones. I was casting spells and roots for people, and it was working. When it works, when you see the black magic works, you get even more addicted to it. Because now you know it's true power, but it's not the power of God. It's true power, but it's a destructive power. It's like sugar and poison. It tastes sweet, but in the end, it's going to kill you. That's what I was doing. I was handing them over every person that I would initiate. When I got done with them, they were not the same people. They were even dark and more demonic than they was before, because I was handing their bodies over to these entities, whether they knew it or not. And the more people I handed over to them, the more power they would give me, the more knowledge they would give me. I was approached by the devil in the spiritual form. He called me his son. I wanted the power of the false prophets. I wanted the power to be able to transmute elements, to float, to fly, to levitate, to take control of people's minds. That's the type of stuff that I was pushing for, and I got it. I took service underneath the fallen in these demons. I changed. I couldn't walk upright. I was drinking blood, sacrificing. Man, the devil had me bound. He had me bound. And the way that God got to me, I was very wicked and very evil. The way that God got to me was through the very sorcery that I was practicing. I was practicing underneath this witch doctor, and he came and he gave me a book one day. And this ain't even the half of it, saints. I'm just condensing this for time purposes. But I could tell you some things that I've seen and that I know. He gives me this book called Bible Spells, basically telling me that it was spells in the Bible when I know now that it's not. But God used this witch doctor to bring me to him. Years I had been doing this, and I had received his power, but I was being destroyed. The life was being sucked out of me. Nothing would go right for me. I was being tormented. I lost control of my body. I lost control of my mind. I lost control of my senses. I was using powerful magic, powerful rituals. It changed me for life. So he gives me this book called Bible Spells, and I began to study it because he would always give me something to take me to the next level that I needed to go in ritualism, the next level in knowledge, the next level in the code, because you got high level people that practice this. Then you got what we call these Walmart witches. They go order a book off Amazon, order a book out of the store, but that's not the real source of. You got to do some crazy demonic stuff to get this type of power. Murder, sacrifice, handing people's souls over, eating flesh. You got to do some stuff to obtain this power from the devil. There's only two sources, there's only two energies in this life, good and evil. There is no other. Anything else is just deception and a lie. And he gives me this book called Bible Spells, and I never was able, that book that was in my cell, because I was in prison for over 5 years practicing this stuff. And I had never touched that Bible from that day that I got taken over, until one day it was like I was able to go. I was searching through the Bible. I picked it up because I was searching for spells and incantations in the Bible, which is not there. And I began to start reading the Bible. And when I started to reading the Bible, I started having dreams, and I started to feel convicted about the stuff that I was doing. And Jesus approached me in a dream. I dreamt about him, and he approached me in a dream. I knew it was him. It's like when Jesus approached you in a dream, he's in a different form because you'll never be able to see his face. But I knew it was him. And he came and he asked me why I was doing the things that I was doing. It was like he began to work on my heart, bro. I started reading Psalms. I started reading Genesis, and I began to change. I began to become convicted. I began to realize the mistake I made in what I was doing. As soon as the devil granted me that power, I denounced it. I remember the day that he came to me, because these creatures, they approach you either in real life or they approach you in the dream state. Because in the dream state is where God and the devil communicates with men. In your sleep is when you're going to be approached by the entities, whether they're good or evil. That's how they approach. So I began to change. And I remember I denounced it. To make a long story short, I denounced it. And I remember when I denounced it, I was laying in my bed. And I just got done doing a ritual. I just got done masturbating. And it was like I was still torn, but then it was like my chest I was laying in the cell, my chest just lifted up, like I just shot up, like something was lifting me up. And these like 5 to 7 balls, these little orbs, flew out of my chest. Like the spirits came out of me. It was 7 of them. They just flew out of my chest, bro. One by one, swirled around the room and shot straight into the ground. And it was like from that day, I didn't feel the same. I was free. I ripped up the books. I denounced, I tore the altar down, and I stopped doing the witchcraft. And I vowed that no matter what I went through from that day on, I would serve the Lord. And the devil, from that day, you would think it'd get easier, but serving God is not easy. The devil want to put you through as much as he could put you through to get you to turn back. Them spirits were still approaching me, trying to kill me in my sleep. He was doing everything he could possibly do to me, coming in my dreams, everything he could possibly do to get me to turn. And from this day forward, I never turned. He tried to kill me because he know that I know their secrets. I know how they deceive. I know how they destroy men. I know how they came to be, why they're here. I just wanted to share those things with you, Saints. My phone going dead. I think I'll make another video. But if this video's touched anybody, come to Jesus, y'all, while you can. This stuff is real, Saints. It is real. I'm a living testimony. It's real.